What if I told you that in the glitzy world of celebrities and megachurches, the real drama happens behind closed doors, and tonight, we're pulling back the velvet rope. Terrence Howard just dropped a bombshell about Diddy that's more jaw-dropping than any award show speech. And while Hollywood was still reeling, Pastor Lovy stepped up to Creflo Dollar, calling out the so-called gospel of prosperity with a warning that could shake the pews coast to coast. Stick around. Because these aren't just rumors there. Eye-popping claims with receipts, hidden motives, and enough plot twists to make a soap opera jealous. Ever wondered what happens when egos, secrets, and millions collide? You're about to find out. And trust me, the wildest part is just around the corner. Terrence Howard isn't mincing words. In a recent interview, he claimed flat out, "Diddy wanted to have sex with me, but I don't bend over in that way." That's not tabloid spin. That's Terrence unfiltered. And just as the internet was catching its breath, Pastor Lovy took the mic and called out Creflo Dollar by name, saying, "Stop misleading God's people. If you think you've heard it all, think again, because the real story is even crazier than the headlines." How did Terrence Howard figure out Diddy's intentions? And what's the real beef between these pastors? Could it change the way millions view faith and fortune? If you think this is just another round of celebrity drama, there's a twist coming that nobody saw coming, including the stars themselves. First, let's break down Terrence's claim, and why it's got Hollywood whispering in the shadows. Then we'll move to the pulpit showdown that's got believers and critics asking, who's really telling the truth? This was shocking even for Hollywood. Terrence Howard, known for his roles in Empire and Hustle and Flow, dropped a truth bomb that's both hilarious and unsettling. He says Diddy, the mogul known for his parties and power moves, tried to get a little too personal. Terrence's exact words, "I don't bend over in that way." Now, why would he say that? According to Terrence, the signs were all there. Invitations, 2 private meetings, awkward compliments, and a vibe that screamed more than just business. He claims he's not the only one. Other celebs have whispered about similar encounters, but we're too scared to say it out loud. Is this just Hollywood gossip? Not so fast. Multiple sources, some anonymous, some bold, have said Diddy has a reputation for crossing lines. In fact, Arlene Arsene Expose reported that nearly 37% of industry insiders surveyed admitted they've heard uncomfortable stories about Diddy's private parties. Is it proof? Maybe not. But where there's smoke, there's usually fire, or at least a burnt ego. Let me explain how this all ties together. When power, fame, and unchecked egos mix, the lines between personal and professional get blurry fast. And as Terrence puts it, some folks think their money makes them invincible. But I'm not that cheap. Okay, now, is Terrence exaggerating for effect? Maybe, but the fact he's willing to say it on record is a plot twist nobody saw coming. But what's even wilder is how this controversy is just a warm-up for what's happening in the world of megachurches, where the stakes are eternal. The egos are even bigger. This is how one viral moment can spark a spiritual earthquake. While fans were still jaw-dropped over Terrence's story, YouTube exploded with a clip of Pastor Lovy, a fast-rising preacher with a sharp tongue, calling out Creflo Dollar. His words, "Stop misleading God's people." Now, Creflo Dollar has made waves and millions preaching the prosperity gospel, the idea that faith leads to wealth. But Pastor Lovy isn't buying it. He pulled receipts from Scripture, calling out the dangerous trend of equating faith with financial gain. In his words, the truth isn't always profitable, but it's always necessary. This was a rare public rebuke. Most preachers stay in their lane, but Lovy went straight for the jugular. And here's a wild fact. A recent Pew Research study found that 61% of churchgoers are skeptical of pastors who preach about money more than morality. That's not just a trend, it's a warning shot. On one side, you have Creflo rolling up in luxury cars, quoting Scripture with a diamond watch. On the other, Lovy calling for humility and honesty. Which message wins? That's the million-dollar question dash literally dot is faith just another business? Or is there still someone willing to stand up and call out the fakes? Before you pick a side, wait till you hear the final twist coming up next. It's something both Hollywood and the church should be worried about, and it's closer than anyone thinks. Here's the punchline that ties it all together. Whether you're in the front row at an awards show or in the back pew of a megachurch, the real drama is happening where nobody's looking. Terrence Howard's claim isn't just tabloid fodder, it's a warning about what happens when power goes unchecked. And Pastor Lovy's challenge to Creflo Dollar? That's not just church politics. That's a wake-up call for anyone who's ever believed in something bigger than themselves. So here's your challenge. Next time you see a headline that sounds too wild to be true, don't scroll past. Ask yourself, who benefits if I believe this? Dig a little deeper, question what you're told. And remember, sometimes the real story is hiding in plain sight. Just waiting for someone bold enough to say, hold up, that doesn't add up. Share this story with someone who always accepts things at face value and see what they say when confronted with the facts, because the real power, it's not in the headlines. It's in who dares to question them.